Welcome back to Morning Joe. It is 7:38 in the morning at the United States Capitol. And this morning, Politico was reporting the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted to authorize more than 36 subpoenas and depositions as part of a Republican-led investigation targeting former Obama administration's officials and their role in the presidential transition period. However, the panel decided to scrap a separate vote, which would have authorized a subpoena to Bridget Brink, the U.S. ambassador to Slovakia, as part of the committee's investigation centering on Joe and his son Hunter Biden. Senator Mitt Romney indicated he would have voted against it, which would have effectively killed that effort. The decision to skip that subpoena vote was made independently of Romney's opposition, according to aides who said Brink agreed earlier this week to testify voluntarily, and a subpoena was no longer necessary. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the chair of the committee, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, told supporters on Monday, quote, "Stay tuned. In about a week, we're going to learn a whole lot more of Vice President Biden's unfitness for office." Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Heidi Przybyla, who has new reporting on this story. Also with us, former senior advisor for the House Oversight Committee, Kurt Bardella. He's a senior advisor to the Lincoln Project. Good morning to both of you. Heidi, I want to start with you and your new reporting. Senator Johnson just saying it out loud there yesterday that we're going to find more about Joe Biden's unfitness for office underlying the political impetus of this investigation.
That's right, Willie. And today, that panel is going to hear from the only known person to have actually spoken with Joe Biden in 2015 about Burisma, the energy company at issue. And NBC News has learned that Amos Hochstein has already told multiple colleagues that Burisma was never an issue. It was never a factor. He was never asked to change U.S. policy, nor did he change U.S. policy on on Ukraine due to Burisma. In fact, Hochstein has told colleagues that Joe Biden and the president actually tried to crack down on Burisma by encouraging in 2015 during a meeting with Ukrainian officials for the former founder of Burisma to be prosecuted. So this is all around the same time, Willie, that these allegations from the committee were to have taken place when, in fact, the Obama administration was trying to crack down on corruption. This is really the latest blow to this investigation, which the FBI has already said is an attempt by is being used by Russians to, quote, launder disinformation through this investigation. And as you cited at the top there, Willie, Johnson has been making a number of comments, not just yesterday, but consistently throughout this probe. In August, he said, quote, "We've got to speed it up because we have an election coming." Of course, the big irony here is that this entire investigation is really relying on and was spurred by the same corrupt Ukrainians that the Obama administration was targeting and trying to put out of business. And we saw evidence of that just last week when the Treasury said that Andrei Derkach, who's the Russian lawmaker that Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer, was working with, has been, quote, an active Russian agent for over a decade. That is what the Treasury said in levying sanctions against him, Willie.
So, Kurt Bardella, you've worked on committees like this. If you want it to be a serious investigation, generally you keep your head down, you talk to witnesses, you issue the subpoenas, you file a report. As Heidi points out again and again, Ron Johnson, the Republican senator of Wisconsin, is going out publicly and just advertising what he's actually up to here.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ron Johnson, much like has been the pattern for Republicans and Donald Trump during this period of time, they're saying the quiet part out loud. This is Benghazi all over again. Republicans using the strings of power to try to go after the political adversaries. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what the facts are. They're just hoping that the mere appearance of impropriety, the mere accusation of corruption and unethical conduct is enough to drag down the Joe Biden presidential campaign. And it's outright treasonous, frankly, that a member of the United States Senate would traffic in Russian propaganda to target an American presidential candidate, using the levers of power to do it. This is exactly why so many people, I think, are turned off right now of the Republican Party overall. This is a party that used to talk about responsibility, responsible oversight, getting to the truth, getting to the facts. Investigations aren't about trying to get to an outcome and a solution. It's about methodically, discreetly, responsibly getting to the truth. And that's the exact opposite of what's happened. They're basically chasing headlines and trying to make the headlines they're manufacturing truthful by having an investigation. It's completely backwards. And Ron Johnson and every Republican who sits up there and enables this behavior to continue should be ashamed of themselves.
Kurt, Aaron Haynes has a question for you. Aaron?
Yeah, Kurt, good morning. I'm wondering, what you think, back in January when the country was focused, on the impeachment hearings and when questions of Burisma and Hunter Biden were a part of, when Senate Republicans tried to make that a part of the conversation, we were not in the midst of a global public health crisis and a national reckoning on race. I wonder what you make of how much of an issue this is going to be as Republicans try to bring this back up with 7 weeks to go until the election. Is that going to be seen as a distraction in the midst of everything else that frankly, the American people and voters are having to weigh in this moment, or does it just contribute to the more chaotic climate that so many people feel that they are in right now?
Aaron, I think it just illustrates how desperate and how out of touch the Republican Party has become with mainstream America. The idea that during a pandemic, 200,000 Americans now almost dead, no end in sight, the president openly contradicting his own CDC, tampering with different processes, trying to limit the scope of information that's coming out for political purposes. I mean, if Ron Johnson and the Homeland Security Committee want to investigate something, Donald Trump is giving us ample fodder every day of things to investigate and pursue that are directly affecting the American people's livelihood right now in real time. And the fact that they're not doing that and instead engaging in these witch hunts, and this is basically taxpayer finance opposition research for a political campaign. And I don't think the American people are interested in that right now, particularly when their unemployment benefits have run out. Their health care is in question. Their premiums are going up, and they don't know if they can send their kids to school safely, go to work safely, do anything safely. And this is what Republicans want to spend their time and oxygen talking about. It looks desperate and out of touch.
Kurt Bardella, thank you very much. Heidi Przybyla, thank you as well for your reporting. Up next, As You Wish, the stars of the 1987 classic, The Princess Bride, join us with a look at what they're doing to help the Democratic Party. Morning Joe is back in a moment.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.